what do you think have changed during the past 2 to 3 decades in the field of journalism, in the broadcast field, and what we are doing in the current scenario?
I would say when I joined journalism, it was very primitive, technology wise.
What do you think will happen in the next future, and what will be the impact on the citizens or the audience regarding this drastic change?
But I'm sure the people will realize that this is not the ideal situation.
What is that one story that caught in your mind that never left your mind for so long?
Pilot in the Pakistani is a very touching and very thrilling story, I think.
What do you think is certain newses that is being overlooked or underreported according to you?
Stories from the rural India, stories from the Mufassil town, stories from the small town. It has all become a high profile, city centric coverage.
Their journalism media is not talking for the people. How do you think we can cope up with that problem?
They should go into the field, talk to the ordinary person as much as possible.
Change in their perspective and get into the field of journalism.
One should realize that if you have to succeed in this profession, you have to be honest, without bias, and non-partisan.
Hello everyone, welcome to LPU podcast. I'm your host Bhavna, and I'm very much excited to introduce you to Mr. Rehan Fazal sir, senior journalist, BBC Hindi Services. Welcome you, sir. And sir, I know you're 34 years of experience in journalism, and the first thing that I want to get it from you is that what do you think have changed during the past 2 to 3 decades in the field of journalism, in the broadcast field, and what we are doing in the current scenario?
I would say when I joined journalism, it was very primitive, technology-wise, very primitive. You won't believe that we used to record the interviews over a spool. There was no digital recorder as such. And we used to edit the interview by cutting the tapes, not by transferring or recording it digitally. So technologically, it has changed a lot. It has gone top-notch in last 10 to 15 years. But content-wise, I would say, the situation has deteriorated. Earlier, there used to be a stress on the quality journalism in which we were very objective, we were neutral, we were giving the stories with a proper perspective. Now the tendency is to play for the gallery, sensationalization, bias reporting. You are either you are pro-government or you are anti-government. There is no scope for a balanced reporting in the present scenario. That's what I feel.
What do you think will happen in the next future, and what will be the impact on the citizens or the audience regarding this drastic change?
But I'm sure the people will realize that this is not the ideal situation. From some quarters, there are protests that things should improve, and things are bound to improve because India cannot exist in isolation of the whole world. If the whole world, if there is a revolution, news revolution in other parts of the country, India is bound. It is bound that it will touch India as well. And I am optimistic that things will improve in the near future, and we will stick to the principle of journalism and do good journalism.
Okay, sir. Sir, the next thing is that I want to know the stories that you have done. I have seen your Vivechana, multiple stories, mostly historical. And what is that one story that caught in your mind that never left your mind for so long?
It's a very difficult question. What is? But let me recall. A very interesting story, but I have covered it. You meant to say the story which I didn't cover, or I?
No, you covered, but that
There,
didn't go away.
there is a very interesting story during the 1971 war. There was a pilot in the Pakistani Air Force from the Bangla origin. He decided that he will hijack a plane of Pakistan Air Force to India. So he boarded the plane, and in the plane was sitting another pilot who was equally determined that he will not let the plane to be hijacked. So in the middle of the air, when the plane was flying towards India, there is a tussle between the two. Each person is trying to grab the other person, trying to prevent other person from doing what he wanted to do, with the result that the plane crashed just before the Indian border, and both of them were killed. The Bangla pilot got the highest bravery award from the Bangladesh when the country became independent, and the Pakistani pilot got their highest bravery award after the war. That is the very touching and very thrilling story, I think, which I covered. I was doing a series on 1971 war, so this particular story got my attention. And I interviewed lots of war historians from India and Pakistan, and they gave a graphic account of what actually happened.
Okay, that was a very good one. Nowadays, there are a lot of things that is happening in the country as well as around the world, and we can say there are wars going on, and people are going into the news for wars. Certain crimes are happening. What do you think is certain news that is being overlooked or underreported, according to you?
I think the development story, the social dilemma of the Indian society, stories from the rural India, stories from the Mufassil town, stories from the small town. It has all become a high-profile, city-centric coverage. The real issues concerning the Indian middle class, the Indian farmers, the Indian poor, that are being overlooked. We have to look into that, and the perspective and the emphasis should change. And it depends on the taste of the people as well. Sometimes if the journalists do this type of a story, they don't get that positive response from the listener. They think that it is a run-of-the-mill story, or it is there's no excitement in it, and so that has to be changed. That has to be changed. We have to have overall coverage of what is happening in India or other countries.
Oh, like, how do you think we can cope up with that problem in the journalism field right now? Like, journalism is for the citizens, and it's like a bridge between the authorities and the normal people, right? So how do you think we can cope up with this problem happening, like, without focusing on the common man? Their journalism media is not talking for the people. How do you think we can cope up with that problem?
They should go into the field, talk to the ordinary person as much as possible. And if there is any opposition from the government side, or if the establishment is not liking that, they have to change the scenario. They should insist that theirs have also the word, and their story needs to be told to rest of the country.
Okay, so this is just a normal question that I'm going to ask you. What do you think can the new generation of journalists change in their perspective and get into the field of journalism?
First of all, they have to be inquisitive. There should be a hunger to learn more. They should read more. They should read newspapers. They should read books and magazines. They should watch as many news shows as possible. And they should try to develop a ethical attitude towards news providing. I mean to say that they should not be biased, they should not be partial, they should not be partisan, they should be able to tell the other side of the story as well. So overall, comprehensive coverage, and they should not be pressurized by the establishment. There are temptation that if you speak the language of the establishment, you go up, and there is monetary and other incentives. So in the long run, it might help you in the short run, but in the long run, you are not going to be a good journalist. One should realize that if you have to succeed in this profession, you have to be honest, without biased, and non-partisan.
Sir, as a fresher, when you get into the field, there will be like pressures, as you were saying, pressures from the higher authorities or maybe the higher ups of your own company. Like, how do you manage? Like, how do you manage to do a story without influence from the other elements?
There is no substitute for the hard work. If you are hard working in your profession, if people realize that you are the person who know the subject best, you cannot be ignored for very long. So try to develop an authority over the subject. You should know as much as possible about everything happening, so that you become indispensable to the establishment. Even if they don't like you, they are bound to recognize your abilities, that you are hardworking, you are knowledgeable, you can give a balanced story. So people are bound to take notice of you.
Okay, sir, that was a lovely session with you. Thank you so much for cooperating, and we would like you here again on LPU. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you so much.